Hello, I'm Rev Michael Mugford, and I'm part of the ministry team at Cole Harbour Woodside United Church, along with Reverend Crystal Elizabeth Wynne, and I'm pleased to offer this spiritual reflection today. Every once in a while, in various settings, someone will tell me that they don't believe in God. And depending on the moment, I sometimes will respond, well, that's okay, but I would love to hear about the God that you don't believe in. And sometimes that opens the doors to some really good conversations. Now, sometimes a person just has no belief in any sort of spiritual portion of the universe. All is matter and energy, but nothing spiritual in the mix. Others believe in God, but were hurt by the church or by an experience in life that has left them so wounded that their belief in God is marred or even destroyed. Now, the hope I find is that even if we move away from God, God never moves away from us. God is that loving foundation of the universe that always seeks the way of relationship with all of creation, including us as humans. In a recent blog post, theologian Bruce Epperly reflects on the nature of God, who he sees as the one who initiates covenant relationships. God reaches out to the new creation in the primordial Genesis stories and offers covenant relationship with all of creation. Later on, Epperly points out it is God again who reaches out to Abram and Sarai before their names are changed to Abraham and Sarah. And God is the one who initiates that covenant relationship. Epperly says that God initiates a covenant that involves an ongoing call and response. God calls and humans respond. And as a result of that response, humankind's response shapes the way God calls in the future. There's a deepness of the relationship there. God is willing to work with creation in order to maintain covenant relationships. Epperly writes, quote, "There is no divine determinism or predestination here, but the challenging world of call and response. Grace expands rather than contracts our freedom and creativity." And so here we are in this season of Lent. One of the aspects of life we're encouraged to consider during this time is that covenant relationship to God that we share with all of creation. This includes the person who no longer believes or who has never believed in God, because the God we have taught and learned of is not the God of covenant relationship by times, but rather the God who looks on humanity as covenant breakers and thus subject to divine judgment and everlasting condemnation. And that God is not a God those people can embrace. We can offer ourselves and to our neighbor a view that when we recognize that covenantal relationship, that covenantal outreach of God, that promise that allows for us to find a way to move forward when no way seems present, we might take some time in this season to not just examine ourselves, but also to examine our covenant and our God, so that we might look to see and ultimately find the ways that God has presented an opportunity to receive the offer of covenant, to respond to that offer, and then to watch the way that covenant grows and changes and ultimately changes and grows us as well. So, during Lent this season, if you see me, stop me and tell me about the God that you don't believe in, because I likely don't believe in that God either. Just some thoughts. Peace.